Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Denise Gary Show. It is just an honor to have former intelligence officer William KOTEL, who served in the United States CENTCOM, or Central Command, there at their headquarters in Tampa, Florida, USA. William KOTEL is an individual that is going to talk to us today about a significant issue that continues to plague the United States of America. Back in 2003, ladies and gentlemen, on May 20th, before the United States Senate Judiciary Committee, the chairman of that committee said this, that the problems of terrorism, drugs, and international organized crime pose new and significant challenges to the United States. And he went on to talk about how these narco-terrorists are involved with numerous terrorist groups that provide security for the drug cartels, for drug traffickers, transporting their products through the United States and other countries under the control of terrorist organizations and their supporters. The finding of the United States Senate Judiciary Committee went on to talk about the fact that the reach of narco-terrorism in today's world extends across the globe, also to Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. And there has been a recent reports that have indicated that Hizballah and other terror groups are working nonstop in the tri-border area. I think it's significant to note that under a Democrat president, President Barack Hussein Obama, he agreed to sign legislation during his administration that would begin to better follow and monitor the terrorist activities of Iran in Latin America because of the growing footprint in that country and its role in disrupting and harming the national security interests of the United States. And again, under our Republican leadership today, President Trump, when he spoke to the United Nations about this very same time in September of 2017, President Trump said that the socialist dictatorship that has impoverished the people of Venezuela is tied to Islamic extremism, an ideology that supports and promotes supremacy, world supremacy, and radical Islamic terrorism that promotes the mass murder of Christians and Jews and Yazidis and Hindus and Muslims. And so here we have today an intelligence officer, William KOTEL, from Florida, retired Army. He wants to address an issue that you all need to listen to very carefully and raise with your legislators in Washington, and raise this issue again with the President of the United States, President Trump. William KOTEL, welcome to the Denise Gary Show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. So let's start with 2007. Talk to us about what you uncovered as an Army, I believe you were an Army NCO at that time, working in Iraq. What happened, sir?
Yes, I was with the 101st working in Iraq as the intelligence officer at that time. And during that time period, what we had found out was large quantities of cash were being moved into Iraq for provincial reconstruction from the United States government. And the State Department and all their agencies like USAID were doing physical hand receipts, okay, where they would just hand receipt this money over to them. They were storing these hand receipts on the 12th floor of the Central Bank of Iraq in 2007. When the State Department started to realize the error of their ways and go back to try to digitize all these documents of monies that were transferred to the Iraqi government for the provincial reconstruction.
Okay, let me just a minute. Hold your thought. I need to ask you a question. So the Department of State, through USAID, a State Department organization, had provided a tremendous amount of money. How much money are we talking about? Is that the $12 billion figure?
It's more than $12 billion. That's correct.
Okay, so over $12 billion, the U.S. taxpayers had provided, of course, the Department of Treasury, and this money was issued by the Department of State, this over 12 billion U.S. taxpayer dollars, to Iraq for reconstruction in 2007. And for some reason, they were issuing hand receipts for the money as it was being given out. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, why is it that wasn't digitized then so that those handwritten receipts could not be easily destroyed or burned?
I can't answer that question. I think it was an oversight on their part, but I don't know what they were doing internally, so I wasn't there to see what they did.
So you don't think that was part of you don't think that was, part of some sort of possible cover-up that would basically make them unaccountable? Because if you write a handwritten receipt, I mean, how easily can a handwritten receipt get destroyed? I mean, it seems terribly irresponsible for a government to do that in 2007. And again, is it possible, sir, you were there in Iraq at that time, that this was, the thought process behind it was that this could be easily destroyed so the money could not be tracked properly?
Well, no, because I hadn't discovered it until after the fire that consumed it. We had to go down and at the Central Bank
of Iraq.
Yeah, I can explain that to you so you understand the concept
Please.
behind that, the dynamics.
Yeah, let's talk about that central fire in Iraq and all that money disappearing. Go ahead, sir.
So the hand receipts were stored on the 12th floor of the Central Bank of Iraq. Mm-hmm. In 2007, we found after the fire that the fire was intentionally set by agents from the ATF, or Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, did the fire reconstruction. And it was set on the 12th floor, and it consumed the 12th through the 16th floor of the Central Bank of Iraq in about the middle of 2007. A U.S.-style court case for criminal actions was put against the former Minister of Finance, Rafi Isawi, who's a Sunni, and is head of his PSD, or Personal Security Detachment, a Colonel Rad. The court case culminated in being heard by an Iraqi court in January of 2008. Colonel Rad was convicted, but Rafi Isawi was released based off of the facts that the Treasury Department had come down and stated they like his macroeconomic policies and they wish to leave him alone. He's the key figure within the Iraqi government.
Restate that. Restate what the Department of Treasury said, please.
The Department of Treasury stated that Rafi Isawi's macroeconomic policies were to their liking, and that he was a staunch Sunni, and they needed him to remain within the government, to continue to work for the Iraqi government.
Okay, so basically, we needed this Isawi that was involved in corruption, and because of his policy choices, the United States government decided, okay, he's necessary. He's a necessary evil to get some policies pushed through that would help take care of and rebuild Iraq. Is that correct, sir?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
What we found after the fire during the investigation was not only was the fire set, but monies were traced to both Denmark and then to Brazil. Okay. They were shipped to the country of Brazil.
And who shipped that money to Brazil? Who transferred the money to Brazil?
Rafi Isawi did, the former Minister of Finance. He did so with the network of people that he worked with, apparently helping him to move that money there at that time.
Was that to just personally enrich him, sir? Was that for personal enrichment of Isawi?
Well, we couldn't determine that because we didn't know who else had access to the money and what it was being used for at that time.
Okay. Go ahead, sir. I'm sorry.
No problem. And so, once this case was then dropped, I returned back to the States in 2009 after my very extended tour in Iraq at that time. And I was assigned to CENTCOM, Central Command. And the Middle East is our area of responsibility. And that was one of the first cases I brought back up because that was $12 billion that was still missing. And we still had problems with multiple Sunni groups, extremist groups like Al-Qaeda that turned now into ISIS or Daesh or ISIL. There's so of the things that I discovered at CENTCOM was a great portion of this money was being utilized down in South and Central America to pay off cartels in multiple countries for freedom of movement.
Okay, let's stop. Okay. So when you were working as an intelligence officer at CENTCOM, which the focus of CENTCOM is the Middle East, you're telling us that you found out through intelligence sources that this money that had been dropped into an account or accounts in Brazil was being used by terrorist groups to pay off drug cartels for freedom of movement and operations. Is that correct?
Correct. What freedom of movement means is that they can walk around multiple countries, no problem, and they can carry whatever they want, whatever kind of weapons they want. They could have WMDs. We don't know. I mean, but they can move freely with this. So as this case progressed at CENTCOM, in 2013, I had discovered that the former president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, who is basically an Iranian and a Shia, was coming back and forth to Iraq under Prime Minister Maliki in Iraq, who was Prime Minister of Iraq, and he was also a Shia, at request. And he was stealing more U.S. money for provincial reconstruction, over $400+ million. And he also was sending this money to banks in Brazil. So when I brought this up and I wanted to target Rafiya Sawi, to go ahead and get him to give us back our money and to give us basically his Sunni extremist networks, and also give us information on Ahmadinejad, who also took money for Shia extremist groups that were doing the same thing in South and Central America. My mission got shut down by the Department of Treasury again. And the reason that it was so paramount in 2013 that we actually acted upon this was because of how this money was being used. It was being used to fund these terrorist groups to move all over South and Central America and buy whatever they wanted. And the cartels had a good alliance with them because the cartels were able to go ahead and get large amounts of money for them, and some cartels were able to get, trigger pullers and muscle from some of these terrorist groups as well to help them solidify their position. The only example I'll give you is in 2015, if you go back to the news, you'll see that ISIS was flying flags between 1 to 4 miles south of El Paso, Texas. You can visibly see them from the U.S. border side. Right in the middle of Juarez, and the Juarez cartels were using them.
Very good, and I reported that. I just want to share with the audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can check this out, through other government sources and other sources. For example, William KOTEL, do you ever look at the Middle East Media Research Institute? That's a think tank in Washington, D.C., and they basically translate from the Arabic language or the Urdu language or the Persian language or Dari, which is modern Persian language. They translate various Middle Eastern languages into English. And that was reported, sir, not classified information at that time, that ISIS was just south of the U.S. border, working very close to the U.S. border with drug cartels. And indeed, I had reported out on my show when I was once upon a time on Christian radio about a mosque that I believe ISIS was involved in right there on the border. So we do know, based on declassified information, that ISIS was working with drug cartels back in certainly in 2015, if not before. So I wanted to share that out with the audience because they can go back and check that out. And again, I want to call your attention, ladies and gentlemen, one of the reasons why legislation was passed during the Obama administration regarding Iran was because of this massive footprint, this growing, increasing kind of power and control by these terrorist groups working in Latin America. Really important. So the Department of Treasury back in 2015, or was it 20? I'm sorry. When did the Department of Treasury decide under the Obama administration to shut down the intelligence that you had uncovered. What year was that again, please?
It was 2013, but it was not just intelligence, it was the mission. We had a mission set forth to go recover Rafia Sawi and to get him to go ahead and give us the information we needed, our monies back, and to give us further information on Ahmadinejad and this theft of U.S. funds. And at the same time, I hate to say this, but we actually needed him back in office because all the Sunni were removed from the Iraqi government, and the Shia were having a lot of problems covering this because the Sunni were making all kinds of attacks happen in Iraq. It caused that country to go down, and if you remember, I spoke last time, we weren't allowed to report on most Sunni-led attacks. So this all culminates in a huge problem. It also dealt with Syria. So to put Mr. Assawi back into office would have slowed down the tide of people going into Syria and that conflict, and would have also helped to secure and solidify part of Iraq. So at one point, they threatened to arrest Assawi, the Prime Minister Maliki's administration, and when they threatened to arrest him, 14 Middle Eastern countries protested that attempted arrest, and he tried to flee to Jordan, and they blocked him. This was in 2013, and this was a big indicator as to how many Sunnis were involved in multiple conflicts, both in Iraq and Syria at that time, that would have settled down, that would have slowed down. And President Barzani, out of the Kurds, also wanted Mr. Assawi back in office. And if Treasury truly liked his macroeconomic policies, it was a simple trade-off. Give us our money back and the intelligence we want, and we put you back in office and we slow down some of the conflict over there.
Right. There have been reports that have suggested, Middle Eastern specialists have thought about the fact that if the government of the United States at the time, of course, it was 2011 that Barack Hussein Obama said we're going to move all U.S. troops out of Iraq. So I think it was by December 11th, 2011, all U.S. troops were taken out. And he did nothing. Obama did nothing to try to create a balance between the Shiites and the Sunnis. So again, ladies and gentlemen, I think this builds further credibility because Assawi was a Sunni and Maliki was Shiite. In fact, the whole government of Iraq became basically run by the Shiites, and the Shiites were killing the Sunnis in neighborhoods and on the streets of cities in Iraq. So it became a very bloody situation. And I've pondered and asked myself pondered this question. I wonder if that isn't why Al-Qaeda morphed into ISIS, and things really heated up in Iraq, just because of the hatred for the Shia, and the decision was that I think that they felt really as though the Sunnis had lost everything, their foothold on power, locally and regionally and nationally, and so they were really going to go after it and get revenge. Have you ever considered that, sir?
I have, and at the same time, I will tell you that the Sunnis ramped up a large amount of attacks over there because of this. If you also go back to 2013, it was publicized in the news that Prime Minister Maliki used General Abu, the head of all Iraqi forces, to attack Ramadi and Fallujah in September of 2013, under the guise that there were terrorist groups like ISIS that were there, which were basically Al-Qaeda at that time. And the problem was there wasn't any terrorists. It was where Rafia Sawi ran to after they attempted to arrest him. So they attacked both cities in the attempts to get and recover Rafia Sawi. That was one of the issues in 2013 I brought up. I further shared this information with Southern Command to allow them to know what's going on, and with Brazil and other countries in South and Central America that were being affected by all of this back in 2013. And then if we fast forward to 2015 and 14 time, when ISIS flags were flying just south of El Paso, I brought this back up to multiple congressmen and senators, as well as trying to reach out to President Obama at that time and others in state offices on the unclassified pieces about this, to warn them that this is a very serious threat.
Well, they had to have known that. They had to have known that, William, because it was other people were reporting that out. So, I saw pictures of it. So, Why do you believe that you were shut down at that time during the Obama administration?
The truth is, Southern Command advised me that their only task was to deal with the waterways between the United States of America and other countries, not dealing with the countries. So there was no effective intelligence gathering within any of these countries at that time. And if you also remember, I hate to bring this up, but this guy Snowden that came out supposedly with classified material, well, he alienated the entire country of Brazil against the United States and England. They thought that we were all monitoring every phone call and email and text they ever sent. And it really alienated us. And going to work with some of these countries to go recover our funds and with the Saudi and these other terrorist guys that will give us our monies back and hopefully go ahead and tell us who these networks are, we would reestablish relations with them. And right now, this current administration has a much better relationship with South and Central America than our previous one did.
Oh, yeah, so, absolutely. President Trump has done a lot. Mm-hmm. So do you believe... Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, if I may, as far as revenge goes, it's not even so much as revenge as it is about having people within positions of authority, like Iraq, having a balance between Sunni and Shia within government, not just Shia, which is what the previous administration supported, just like they did in Egypt. And they let the Morsi Brotherhood take over. And General Al-Sisi went ahead and said, no, we're not going to handle this anymore because they're doing negative things against the country, bad things, so he took the country back.
Right. We know that Obama certainly supported the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, and for some reason he didn't work to create a balance, help Iraq create a balance between Shia and Sunni, and I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand why he would support a Sunni Muslim Brotherhood government that was going after and murdering Christians, the minority Christian population that had nothing and no power at all. And, we had a president, Obama, that went after and supported Mohammed Morsi, the Muslim Brotherhood leader of Egypt. And yet, he seemed to do nothing by way of, and of course, this is what I know. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But based on my understanding and reading and research on the subject at that time, Obama didn't seem to help create any kind of balance there in Iraq. And I think that's deeply disturbing and led to tremendous unrest in that country that helped create problems on the ground later for the United States of America. Would you agree, sir?
Oh, I would do more than that. I will tell you this, that by alienating the Sunnis, you alienated Sunnis in many countries. And they are now not helping us like they were in the past. And that is a big mistake because now you created a lot of Sunni splinter groups that are creating chaos and anarchy all over the place. In many areas, it destabilized that Middle Eastern region. It's allowing Iran to walk into Shia-led countries and support them. This is ridiculous. I mean, we had everything under control. We had it set up so that the Sunni and the Shia had equal say in the governments, everything from the neighborhood and the district area governments, the NAC and DAC halls, all the way to provincial council, to the prime minister's office in Iraq. And in Syria, there wasn't this much drama and fighting as there was since 2010 to 11. And that also was created by a lot of outside actors from many other countries that were both Sunni and Shia, all filling into Syria, trying to get even.
Okay.
What was taking place in Iraq.
Let's get back to U.S. taxpayer dollars that were basically stolen out of the Central Bank of Iraq and put into banks in Brazil. Do you think any of the U.S. taxpayer dollars are still there in bank accounts in Brazil?
Yes, I do.
Okay. But you concede, though, the point that, and of course the U.S. government backs this up today, that there is money that has been used by these terrorist groups, by Iran. You talked about the former president of Iran, Ahmadinejad, that Obama was involved with. We talk about how he stole a lot of U.S. taxpayer dollars out of Iraq. They've paid a lot to their terrorist proxies in Latin America. So tell us, where do you think things stand now? I mean, what's going on today?
Okay, so as time progresses, and we're talking about as mostly this year, 2019, end of 2018, right now, you're seeing a culmination in Venezuela of cartels and multiple terrorist groups and communist groups. Now, South and Central America has a lot of different communist groups. There's so many different names: Shining Path, the FARC, and the ISIL rebels, whatever. You can name as many as you want. It doesn't make a difference.
Now, the Shining Path. The Shining Path, is that still, is that, the Shining Path is out of Peru, is that correct?
Is that what? I didn't hear you.
Shining Path. Shining Path, their headquarters, where are their headquarters still located?
I can't answer that one.
I thought possibly it was Peru, but anyway, I was just curious. So go ahead. These terrorist groups are funded, and 2018.
These are communist groups.
Right, exactly. But they're terrorist groups nonetheless. I mean, they kill innocent civilians for a political objective. But yes, they're communist. They're terrorist communist groups. But they're right. But they're still randomly killing innocent civilians for an objective. Go ahead, sir. So.
Well, they are. Now you have the communist groups that are also terrorist groups, but you also have the traditional terrorist groups like Hizballah groups, you have ISIL, and all those other groups that are both Sunni and Shia. They're all culminating and they're all gaining strength and effort within Venezuela and some of these countries that are neighboring to Colombia and Central America, as well as cartels. The problem we face today, and I'm going to put this out not to be sympathetic to any one side or another, but what the cartels do not understand is that these terrorist groups like ISIS, Daesh, whatever, and these Shia groups like Hezbollah, they do not respond to these cartels. They're paying them right now. When they're done paying for the services and they get what they want, that's when they normally attack those that have any knowledge about what they do. So these cartels are business-orientated more than they are terrorist-orientated. And the reason I say that is because they're only for profit. These terrorist groups are not. They're only for mission, to be completed, which is basically harming anybody that's soft targets, like men, women, and children that are unarmed, and in our public places, like places of worship, malls, other things like that. So when these terrorist groups are finished with these cartels, paying them off, all these freedom of movements and everything else like that, they're going to turn on these cartels. And I don't believe that these guys understand that. Right now, they're getting a lot of money and they're getting a lot of support and muscle and trigger pullers to help them maintain control, like I cited with the Warriors cartel as an example. And they just don't realize what these terrorist groups are going to do.
Tell the audience
their own leadership and no one else's.
Tell the audience where the Juarez cartel currently is located. Where are they primarily stationed?
The Juarez cartel is on the other side of the fence from El Paso, Texas.
Very good. And again, this report, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to go to the Senate Judiciary Committee of the United States for May 20th, 2003, it basically outlines individuals, whether they be from Pakistan or Hezbollah from Lebanon or Iran, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, various groups. I mean, it's incredible to me, William, that I look at a report dating back to the Bush administration, and they basically, through hearings that they held by the Senate Judiciary Committee, outlined in 34 pages through testimony what you've managed to talk about with respect to these terrorist groups paying these drug cartels to make it possible for them to be involved in human trafficking and the sale of narcotics, bringing them into the United States and making millions and millions of dollars off the sale of these drugs, money laundering. Again, it is just incredible. And of course, we know that they're involved in gun running, in the black market there with respect to selling weapons and guns illegally. Can you speak to that at all, sir?
Can I make one statement and a request, respectfully?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. For the purpose of the statement, I'm going to make it very clear that this is an unclassified statement, so we're going to leave it at that.
Sure.
And then the request. And the statement is this. We know where all this money is. We know what banks, we know people that have these accounts. We have the baseball cards, basically, on all those that are affiliated with these accounts. And we can go back and go recover our monies. And without money, no one has guns or is able to pay for trigger pullers to help them in their organizations. And this is a big deal. So with respect, I ask, respectfully as possible, the President of the United States, please issue a warrant to recover U.S. funds from different accounts from overseas that we are very well aware of. There are multiple agencies in the United States government, to include the Department of Defense, that knows where these monies are. Without these monies, you shut these people down. And when no bullets are fired, nobody has to get hurt. We're just taking our money back, U.S. money that was stolen from the taxpayers, recovering it, putting it back into U.S. coffers legally, and just with a stroke of a pen. I respectfully request the President of the United States takes this seriously to be able to do this and order the DOJ to work with international law and make this happen. Please. Thank you for that.
Oh, you are so welcome. And what a profound point that you have just made. That if there's an accounting, if through the intelligence work you have done, do you believe there's others at USCENTCOM there in Florida or possibly in Qatar who have followed these accounts and can help the president and help the Department of Justice go after this, or do you have this information yourself?
I know for a fact that multiple agencies track this.
Okay, multiple agencies. Right now. Okay. And back to the drug cartels and terrorist organizations. Another extremely profound point that you've made to the audience today is that, in effect, these international Islamic terrorist groups, Muslim extremists, will use the members of these drug cartels only so long as they are needed. And when they're finished getting what they want out of a deal, you're suggesting that they're liquidating members of the drug cartels. Is that correct?
Whoever knows about too much of their operational, missions and outsets, yes, they will. They use their own suicide bombers. And please understand, a lot of these suicide bombers, they do so more to help their families because they're promised payment to their families, like financial payment.
Oh, absolutely.
They don't blow themselves up.
Absolutely.
So they don't just blow themselves up for hours. It's more about money than anything else.
Are you aware?
Definitely do this.
Are you aware of Palestinians? I know Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Arab Muslims or Palestinians there in Judea and Samaria. Now, he continues to raise the salaries of individuals that kill Jews, and there have been terrorist attacks against Jews in Latin America as well as Christians. Are you aware of any Palestinian terrorist groups being involved in this? I know they're celebrated in countries like Chile and particularly the capital, Santiago, Chile, etc. Are you familiar with that, sir?
I'm familiar that the Hizballah is related to them.
Okay.
That's as far as I can go with that.
Okay. Sorry. All right. No, that's all right. That's all right. I was just reading a report, and there are several out there that will collaborate what I've just said, that the Palestinian leadership has increased the salaries of those that will be involved in suicide attacks and blow up, innocents, non-Muslims, principally Jews, but also Christians as well. So let's recap, sir. So there's two things then that I think that the audience can do to help facilitate what you're hoping the president will do. They can tweet, they can write, they can telephone the president and ask him to respectfully go after these individuals that have bank accounts in countries like Brazil, in Latin America, that are using stolen funds, stolen monies from the U.S. taxpayer to fund terrorism. And you'd like him to go after that. And for all we know, he may be doing that already. But it sounds like you're not sure about that. You're a retired Army intelligence officer from CENTCOM. So, I mean, is there a possibility we're going to ask the president to do this? And I'm going to put that out there today on social media. But is there any chance, sir, that under President Trump and his Treasury Department, that they might have begun to do this work? Your thoughts?
I don't believe any of it's been attempted as of yet.
Okay.
When I left CENTCOM and I was working these cases, no one had interest in it. And the big thing to me was, because of the problems we had with a lot of Central and South American countries turning more against the U.S., that this was a great opportunity to get them back in the geopolitical spectrum closer to the United States, working with us so we could work with them to get this stuff.
Sure.
It doesn't mean we tell them our operational aspects, but we do tell them what we're doing. We're operating down there for our reasons, and they can get a portion of that recovery as well, maybe a small portion, like 10%. But what that would do is that would solidify a lot of these governments, these countries, in our side, and help them to, stop this stuff that when they find out through their intelligence services that they can start arresting people. Secondly,
unless they're being paid, unless they're being paid off by these terrorist groups too. You have to remember some of these banana republics in Central America and South America may be being paid off by proxies of the Iranian government or other terrorist groups, and so they might be just as corrupt as the terrorist groups. But anyway, go ahead and make your second point.
Well, that's a good point, because what I'm saying is we don't tell them the operational aspects of it, but we work within the confines of the country.
Right.
So they're either going to have to be, removed by pulling people from office, or they're going to have to start complying with international law to be more U.S. friendly, because now they're under, the watchful eye of the United States. What we're seeing, if they are tainted, which would be bad, and they would have to, find a way to correct that.
Well, we can withhold foreign aid. We can withhold our U.S. foreign aid to those countries, which the president doesn't seem averse to do when he thinks it's necessary.
But I think that will come out. Again, the Asali case is more or less a trigger point. That trigger point allows for this administration to go after one individual at first and then expound outward.
Oh,
the more
yes.
we find, and the more people we find involved, will tie back to different individuals, groups, companies, countries, and others. So we are able to go out and exponentially expand this and use that to our advantage in a positive manner, not some negative, threatening manner or blackmail, but to go ahead and to regain our funds and to make people do the right thing. I know that's an alien concept today, but we can force people to do the right thing. Yes,
absolutely. This is extremely important, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you'll ask the president if he will.
The last thing I would ask was one thing, Ms. Gary, I apologize to interrupt.
No.
But I did want to also ask that we formally put out an international warrant through green notices in Interpol to arrest Ahmadinejad, the former president of Iran, for theft of U.S. funds.
Is it Interpol that can do that, or can we not do that ourselves?
We can do it ourselves. We would only have Interpol as an assist to help us to regain him, whether he's in countries we don't have presence in or he's in areas we don't have anybody in at that point in time. They can help us through the green notice process to arrest and detain him so U.S. personnel can get them to go ahead and take him back and formally charge him.
Right. Ladies and gentlemen, Interpol's an international, it's like an international police organization. Have I captured that correctly, sir?
Yes, you did.
Okay, thank you. So, yes, arrest and detain Ahmadinejad, the former president of Iran. That's a wonderful idea. He should have been under arrest under the Obama administration for all of the blood of the Americans and American soldiers that are on the hands of Ahmadinejad. I don't know why he hasn't been arrested and tried at the International Court of Justice already. I think that's a failing, certainly, of the Obama administration, and for not going after him and making sure that happened. But at any rate, anything else, William KOTEL?
No, ma'am. I think we've covered a lot of it, and I hope that people do take this to heart and listen, because the U.S. government, we need our money back. I mean, this is
well, we need our money back because it'll save lives. We need our money back, sir, because as you have pointed out so thoroughly and completely, it saves lives because the money goes to support drug cartels that have created the opioid epidemic here in the United States. I mean, these drug cartels, together with groups like Hizballah, a terrorist organization, are selling these drugs to make millions of dollars. And it's a good way. You deprive them of their funds and you deprive them of their power and authority and leverage to carry out more nefarious activities inside the United States of America. And what you've said today is absolutely profound. And I hope every American hears the broadcast. Last word, William KOTEL.
I want to thank you for allowing me to speak about this case. This has been burning me for years. And when I had the mission going in 2013, I was very disheartened by Treasury shutting it down and that we weren't able to execute on that mission. I would have helped save a lot of lives and caused a lot of the civil unrest that was going on in Syria and Iraq. And we could have recovered a lot of our funds and stopped a lot of the cartels from working with a lot of terrorist groups. Now it's a little bit more embedded, but there's no problem getting our money back because money's key.
Very good. Thank you. William KOTEL, ladies and gentlemen. William KOTEL. Share this broadcast out with everyone you know. Thank you, Mr. KOTEL. You have a blessed and wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to go to a break. I want to, again, ask my producer, let's look at the Frugatti's. That is a fabulous Italian restaurant right here in the Central Valley, Kern County, Bakersfield, on Coffee Road. Fabulous Italian food. Check it out. Let's go to that commercial.
I want to tell you about a place I love to go, Frugatti's Italian Restaurant. Very few locations here provide seating outside in front of a fabulous water fountain with an atmosphere that is reminiscent to me of eating outdoors in Venice. This is real Italian food by real Italians. And what makes it even more so is owner Ralph Frugoletti, who nearly a quarter century ago brought a wood fire oven from Milan, Italy to make, like his mother, fresh homemade bread and pizzas. Moreover, Frugatti's restaurant offers you not only the very best in Southern Italian cooking, even importing the finest ingredients for authentic Italian food, including a fitness menu. After all, Ralph has represented the United States and Italy, competing in the Master Championship Games. He knows all the right food for good fitness, so check out the menu. After today's broadcast, run over to Frugatti's Italian Restaurant and Catering at 600 Coffee Road here in Bakersfield. And after a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday service, stop into Frugatti's for a great lunch. I'll see you there, and tell Mr. Ralph Frugoletti that Denice sent you. Salute. Bon appetito.
President Trump has correctly stated that economic security is national security. And in the Tehachapi Mountains of Kern County resides a United States defense contractor, Anates Products. Here is the Silicon Valley of the aerospace industry, right here in East Kern. Anates Products is a forward-leaning manufacturer and distributor of hardware sold to major defense and aerospace companies. We're talking about Boeing, Lockheed Martin, United Technologies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon General Electric, and on the list goes, as well as to every United States ally worldwide, including Israel, America's most important strategic ally in the Middle East. And for everything that flies, Anates Products is providing the parts. And with me today is the president of Anates Products, Scott Baker. Hi, Scott.
How you doing?
Scott, tell us why you believe this corner of Kern County is the hub of the aerospace industry.
Well, this portion of Southern California here out in the Antelope Valley, it contains, some of the most cutting-edge technology going on in aviation today. We have some of the UCAS programs with unmanned technologies going on. We have Edwards Air Force Base out here who's doing continual testing in their area. We have the Naval Weapons Station up there at China Lake doing some fantastic cutting-edge stuff, cruise missile technology, and those things are going on. We have Scale Composites locally doing a lot of composite technology, which is new. We have SpaceX, which is a private one putting a private entity putting things into space now. This area is the growth center for aviation's future. And this is the area I think that as a nation we need to be concentrating some of our effort and taking this technology. And as we all know, with the space program from Apollo years ago, out of these technologies, we the private sector are going to reap some of the benefits of that.
Thank you, Scott. Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Baker, president of Anitae's Products. Anitae's Products, located in the beautiful mountains of Tehachapi, California, in eastern Kern County, is home to some of the most innovative and specialized technologies in the world, including those at the U.S. Naval Air Warfare Center, Weapons Division at China Lake, Edwards Air Force Base, as well as Stratolaunch, launching satellites capable of delivering multiple orbits in a single flight to space. And it is Anitae's Products that has provided the manufactured devices. And the president, Scott Baker of Anitae's Products, Marine Corps veteran, reactivated on 9/11 to monitor threats to the homeland, is carrying on a tradition of providing for the security of the United States by manufacturing every kind of fastener on anything that flies, as well as providing a full testing destructive laboratory. Contact Anitae's Products, now in business for 30 years, at 661-822-6873. Located at 1314 Goodrich Drive in Tehachapi for your manufacturing and testing needs today.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for listening to the Denice Gary Show. Again, you can go to YouTube, my YouTube channel, the Denice Gary Show. Check this out. You can see it. Check me out on Instagram, Reddit, Discord. You name the social media platform and I'm there. But the important thing, especially if you're on Facebook, is to share this critical broadcast out. We certainly want to encourage the President of the United States and the people that are under his authority to go after Asawi, the former finance minister there from Iraq that was involved in stealing American taxpayer dollars, because understand, once again, that these taxpayer dollars have been used by individuals, whether they're Sunni or Shiite, to fund terrorist operations and support the work of drug cartels operating throughout the world, and particularly in South America, Central America, and Mexico. And of course, this leads to the deaths associated with the opioid epidemic right here in the United States. Terrorist groups and the drug cartels they finance, these organizations need to be shut down. And that's why William KOTEL's message was so important today. So please share this broadcast out. We want to thank you for listening to the Denice Gary Show. This is Denice, signing off.